Hi everyone, this is a bit of a different video I have today, so I didn't want to start it off with the usual intro. But around the time you'll be seeing this video will be National Autism Awareness Week. And it's a very strange time for me, because me being on the autistic spectrum and kind of seeing a lot of different things people are putting out in honor of this week, I don't know, it's kind of uneasy at times to see some things, because there's this kind of looming presence over the whole thing that really isn't representative of the true feelings of autistic people. And that is basically, I'm gonna go on a rant about Autism Speaks, because that's one of the things that a lot of autistic people tend to do, because frankly they just don't represent any of what we really think. They just don't. And a lot of the campaigning around autism awareness centers around a lot of the things that they've incorporated. A lot of people do Light It Up Blue, which is from them. A lot of people incorporate the puzzle piece, which is from them. It's just a lot of uneasy symbolism, and it's kind of complicated, but I could go on and explain why Autism Speaks doesn't represent the real views of autistic people like myself. But I'm going to link a video in the description that I watched a few years ago, which explains it just so well and much better than I ever could. So I'm going to link that in the description, and I would urge you to watch it if possible. Essentially, Autism Speaks wants a cure, and that's something that is really damaging. Act like this is what people like me have is some kind of disease that needs to be cured is really just a horrible sentiment, and it really kind of makes me uncomfortable to see people just going along with that, because my life is kind of difficult at times, but it's not something I feel needs to be cured. It's just kind of something I've been living with for all my life, and I just deal with it. And challenges come up and I deal with them one by one. And it definitely just makes me a little sad when I see people treating autistic people as these kind of victims and kind of pretty incompetent and not really being able to speak for themselves, which is completely false, because I'm an autistic person speaking on a camera to an audience on a YouTube channel that I made myself. So it's like, I don't see what you're talking about. I feel like a lot of the times Autism Speaks is really based around other people speaking for autistic people, which I think, even though there's such thing as allyship and fair enough, people want to be supportive, but it feels like they're taking away our voices. Like, I can speak for myself. I can tell you my experiences. I can express how I want things to be done, how I want people to respond to things that happen with me. I can express that myself. I don't know everything, but the fact is, we won't always know everything, and we won't always understand everything, and sometimes it's a case for neurotypical people to just kind of accept that, and accept that sometimes we won't have all the answers ourselves, and just bear with us and listen to us, and that's what I think is really important. So a few years ago, I was frustrated with a lot of the campaigns around autism awareness, because I felt like they were representing this shadowy mum speaking for everyone else system, and I really just didn't like that. But I found this movement on Tumblr called Red Instead. It is created for autistic people by autistic people. It is essentially providing a different format of autism awareness from autistic people, sharing our experiences and really speaking for ourselves and providing a more accurate representation of life as an autistic person. I just thought it was amazing. I thought this is exactly the kind of thing that represents me. This is the kind of thing I want to be speaking about and I want to resemble. This is the kind of template for the autistic person I want to be, not this kind of stereotype that's been seen in media and is really reinforced by organisations like Autism Speaks, which really just reduces and belittles autistic people, and I didn't want to be reduced or belittled. It also helps that red is a very powerful colour. So essentially this video is me doing this look, which is a very bold red look. It just represents a lot of thoughts I was having and a lot of feelings that I was having. This is me taking back control of myself, taking back control of my condition, and just being like, this is how it is, and I don't need to explain it any further. Because it's always the thing about explaining my condition a lot of the time. It's like a second coming out. I already have enough to do being a gay person, but being an autistic person, it's like I've got two different things to deal with. It gets a little repetitive, and I just wanted to let you all know about me as a more confident, powerful autistic person who isn't going to be bound by these types of stereotypes. So without further ado, I'm going to show you this look, because I've been whittering on about some things for too long, and it's about time I showed you the look. So let's go. Right, so the first step is to prime your eyes in however way you usually do, but I'm sure that's nothing new. So to start off, I'm going to go into the Revolution and Tammy Tropical Carnival palette, which I have just reviewed on my channel. And I'm going to go into this red shade called Trini, and I'm going to add this as the first transition. Like, when it comes to me, that's kind of how I am. I like bright colours and fun and just like going a little bit wild sometimes. I'm definitely not afraid to do that. It just kind of took me a while to get into learning that. And I think that's kind of an interesting metaphor for my life overall. Is just sometimes it takes a little bit of time to figure things out, but eventually you'll get to a good place. And I'm also going to take a different brush to blend it out too. I'm really loving this shade. It's just really nice. And then I'm also going to take that same shade on the lower lash line. So now I'm going to deepen up the crease, and for that I'm going to take Love Plus by Sugar Pill, which is slightly darker of a red, and I feel like it works really nicely for deepening the crease a little. To go in with this and not just go straight in with a black. It's just gradual, but I really love that these colours fade out really nicely. So I think that this is a good step to have a slightly darker red in there, or even like a burgundy, just so it isn't too stark of a contrast. I'm also going to take Love Plus on the lower lash line as well. And right now it's just really powerful looking eye right now, but when we add the black it's going to get even more so. Speaking of which, it is time to get a little more intense. I'm going to go into this black shade, which is called Jab Jab. This is from the same Tropical Carnival palette, but any black will do, as long as you can work with it. And I'm going to take that and use that to even further deepen the crease. And just work gently. I'm going to gradually blend that more into the crease. I also like to take a little bit on the very inner part. Something I don't do very often, but I really like it. I really like discovering those little added tricks that help to make a look even better. And this is how it's looking so far, so it's creating a really gorgeous contrast. But there is another shade I want to add. This beautiful metallic red called Spiced Rum, and I'm going to take that on a flat brush, and I'm going to pack this on the lid. And this is a dry brush, and it is exactly how I want it to perform. And what I did on this eye is I re-emphasized the black a little bit, but I don't feel like I need to do that on this eye. That's the eye done. So I'm going to go and finish this look off camera, and I'll be right back to explain a little bit more about this video. Alright, so I've finished the look now. For my lip colour, I really wanted to pick something that I felt like a boss in. Do you know when you have those lip colours that you just feel like such a boss when you wear them? And for me, it's Bichette by Colourpop. This is a Lippy Sticks. I love the Lippy Sticks formula. I could talk about it for days, but this isn't that type of video. This is something quite different. So I wanted to create this look because this look is a little intense, but it's bright and it's powerful and it's confident and it's kind of everything I've been wanting to be and wanting to represent as an autistic person that isn't really represented in the media. The media kind of represents autistic people quite poorly. I'm gonna be honest, I feel like the representation on film and TV and just media in general is pretty poor. It's either the negative or everything depends on somebody else. That's really disheartening when you're younger. When you're seeing autistic people represented in certain ways, it's horrible. Seeing certain stereotypes put out in certain associations, it's pretty horrible thinking that you're going to be bound to that. And it isn't until I got older that I realised that I don't need to fit into any of that. I mean, clearly I'm already not really fitting into certain things, let's be honest about that. But I didn't really want to let all of that define me very much. And now I'm in a place where I'm just like, I don't care. I'm just living how I want to live. Living the life that I want to live. Sometimes it's difficult, sometimes it isn't fun, sometimes I wish that things would be easier, but it's not this kind of horrible disease. Because I'm living, I'm fine, I'm here, I'm on a YouTube channel, I'm doing my fucking makeup, and I'm having fun with it. This leads me on to the topic of what you can do. If you are watching and you are autistic yourself, obviously do what you want. Live your life. with what you want and just be that. But if you aren't, there's a real question about kind of allyship and what you can do to not spread potentially harmful imagery and phrases. Because I'll say this now, Autism Speaks is pretty toxic and there's a lot of negative connotations towards Light Up Blue as well. I'm just going to be honest with that. There's a lot of things about the puzzle piece that are problematic, like the puzzle piece being like, oh, they just need to be like fixed and put together. Like, no, I'm already put together. I'm already right here. Y'all don't need to put me together or fix me. I'm perfect. Well, I'm not perfect, but you know what I mean. Like, I'm fine. I don't need fixing. And also, there's a lot of erasure of autistic girls in the media because of how stereotyped it is that it's mostly boys that are autistic, but there are a lot of autistic girls as well, and it feels like they get erased and really pushed to the sides. And overall, our stories just aren't really getting told properly. It's always, oh, it's this little kid that likes trains or something. And it's like, no, there are adults out there. There are people who are working jobs. There are people running businesses and stuff and really just living an amazing life while being autistic. And that is amazing. And the fact that people are really minimizing that is very sad. Also, I kind of feel like I'm at a weird intersection myself, being both autistic and in the LGBT community, because I always thought you never really expect an LGBT person to be autistic, and you never really expect an autistic person to be LGBT. We're all here, you just have to look a little bit. The last thing I wanted to say, because I feel like I have gone on about a lot of different things, is that if you have previously shared things that a lot of autistic people would consider not representative or problematic or dangerous, like associating with Autism Speaks, etc. First of all, I just wanted to say it's fine. You don't have to apologize. You don't have to be like, oh no, I made a horrible mistake. Like, because it's fine. It's quite an easy misconception to make if you haven't gotten deep into all of the research and lore of it all, which I do, because I'm a bit mad like that. But like, we're not gonna look at you like you made a mistake once and now we are going to hate you for the rest of your life, because that's kind of ridiculous. All we ask is for you to listen, and that's really it. Just listen to what we have to say. This is going to sound a little bit high and mighty, but we're the autistic people. Like, let us lead the conversation for issues that are pertinent to us. And that's really all we're asking. We don't want harmful rhetoric spread against us by people who apparently speak for us but really don't. Being on the internet right now can be challenging for an autistic person. I've seen stuff that has made me like horrified at what people say about people like me. People like me are here, we exist, and we aren't going to go anytime soon. Because when I see a lot of the things from Autism Speaks, it really, not as much now, but it really kind of made me feel less confident about myself. It made me feel less. But things like Red instead made me feel so like, in charge of myself and so powerful. It made me feel like I'm in control of my life and I feel really good about it. And I know I can't speak for all autistic people because every case is different. That's what's so important about it, is that every single case is different. And for me, I clearly am doing this and speaking like this and talking like this and looking like this, but not everyone is in that same category. But I think there's an overall message to be taken from this. Being autistic can be difficult, but I wouldn't want to change it because I feel like it's a part of who I am. I'm all sorts of different things. I am awkward, weird, but I'm confident, I'm proud, I'm happy, and I'm an autistic person. I don't want anyone to ever feel like they're less because they're autistic. Overall, I just don't want anyone who is autistic to feel like they're less because of organizations or people or anything, because you can still live a great life. I'm living a great life now. I think that's a great place to close this video off. But thank you so much for watching this. If you have anything else you want to discuss, feel free to leave it in the comments. I can probably explain it a lot better in typed words than I can in verbal words? I don't even know if that's the right phrase, but it might be. But if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to see more of me, subscribe to my channel below. I do some nice little looks on my face with coloured powder, which is always very fun. And if you want to talk to me further, I am Ariel Network on Twitter and ArielNet on Instagram, so as always, check me out if you want to see more of me. And finally, thank you for spending time with me today, and I friggin' love you all for watching. Bye!